Hello and welcome back to the Puncher's Chance podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Boots Ennis versus Karen Chukhadzhian in Philadelphia and the rest of that matchroom card, including Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Khali Coe, Amo Williams and Raymond Ford. As well as that, we're going to be talking about Keyshawn Davis's win on Friday night as well. Straight into the action, Jaron Boots Ennis, hometown fight in Philadelphia. It was a tough fight, a man he'd already fought before, and you said you wanted better from him, Harry. We maybe didn't quite get that, did we?
Well, I was expecting a stoppage. I think we were all expecting that Ennis would get to Chukhadzian, and a lot of the messages throughout the fight from his corner, from his father, was this round, get him out of there, and I think that was the message for all 12 rounds. But no, it was a good performance. It was a lot better to watch this time around than the first fight. Chukhadzian came back, and a lot of people were saying, does he deserve this opportunity again? And I think Saturday night he did show that against Ennis, and you know, Jaron now, he gets through this fight now, he can move on now to, I want him to fight Brian Norman Jr. I think that's the next logical step for him. But you know, when you have a mandatory, you have to get through him, and he got through him, and it was a very entertaining fight.
Do you think it was more a better performance from Chukhadzian from the first fight, or an off night from Ennis, or a kind of combination of the two? Because I thought he seemed to just be playing to the occasion a little bit too much. I think he was talking to the crowd between the rounds and stuff, and he just kind of almost got carried away a little bit with that one. But also, I think Karen was much better than he was last time. He was much more front forward. I
think it just shows how confident he is, and he's fighting in front of his own people, and he's trying to impress. You know, that Wells Fargo Centre in Philadelphia is quite hard to sell out, and I think he was quite full there on Saturday night. So he was just trying to entertain him. But I do agree with you. I thought, you know, it could have been an off night for him, but I just think Chukhadzian this time around wanted it more, because he's had his second opportunity. Not a lot of times we see boxers that get beat like he did, well, to nil really, weren't it, in that first fight, and then come back and then put in a performance like that. So a lot of props to Karen. But yeah, Boots Ennis, I think, just showed that he's too good for that level now, and you can forget about those fights. It's about unification fights now and getting more and more world titles to his name.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a case of Chukhadzian made a better fight than the first one, because he showed a lot more and looked like he come to win, and he caused Ennis some problems. It'd be interesting now to see whether Ennis sticks around the welterweight or goes up to super welterweight, because he's a very big welterweight, and if we're moving up, we'd probably look at the Virgil Ortiz fight then, which probably makes the most sense for him. It, obviously not a world title fight, but it'll do very well and people will be interested. But he'd have to be a lot better defensively against someone like Ortiz, who can really, really bang. If he gets caught as much as he did against Chukhadzian in this fight, then he could be in trouble. And I think that's a proper 50-50 fight between them two, if he does move up. Like I said, with the corner, with his father, I don't think was very helpful. Like, just standing there every round and just go and get him out of there. Like, you need to give him, I know they know each other well, but like, you need to give him the information. You can't just say, oh yeah, go on.
Was that maybe like I'm probably reading this way too much, but could it have been like a sort of tactical thing of, you know, I'm going to let the fighter work it out for himself this time? Because there is a degree of, you've got to work out things during a fight, and in a fight that you kind of knew you were going to win, it might be a good opportunity to try and let him work things out for himself, which maybe he did or didn't do. Or more realistically, his dad just said, just go get him out of there.
Yeah, go on, lad. You do have a corner man for a reason. Yeah, that is his job, is for that fight night, is to tell you what needs to win. Otherwise, there's no point having him in there, is there?
Yeah.
If you're just going to figure it out yourself, you may as well just walk to the ring yourself at the same time.
Yeah, true. I do think in the fifth, I think it was, he knocked him down. He kind of took a knee, and I thought that was a clever strategy from Chukhadzian, because I think it was one of those where you could see he wasn't going to go to the ground anytime soon, but it was only a few punches until the ref probably had to step in. So I think there's a chance he could have got a stoppage there, but generally he just struggled to really kind of pin him down, didn't he, and really let go without getting caught himself.
I think he just shows as well how tough he is. You know, Ukrainians, they are tough, aren't they? And it is hard to get him out of there. But I was just looking at the list of names now he could face next, and the name that's just underneath him on BoxRec, Conor Benn.
Yeah, be a good fight.
there's rumours now of Conor Benn against Chris Eubank Jr. at the beginning of next year, which fingers crossed happens. I know that you're not a big fan of it, but could you imagine Conor Benn now over in America then fights Jaron Ennis? In his comeback fight. That could be huge for British boxing as well, to see a guy that, in a way last week came out, and I could be reading this wrong, but was innocent all the way along, and he served his whatever the ban was. But yeah, listen, take nothing away from Saturday night. I think Jaron Ennis just put on a decent display, and he can now move on. And if it's Conor Benn, I think that's me being selfish as a British fan, but I think that could be a good next fight for him.
I think it's more likely that Conor Benn fights Chukhadzian next rather than especially after a near 2-year layoff.
Yeah, quite possibly. Do you know what I actually think Boots' biggest problem was in this kind of fight night? That he came straight after Bam Rodriguez, which obviously was a phenomenal performance. He's absolutely smashed Pedro Guevara out of there in double quick time, and done so looking pretty good in the process.
We talked about last week that this card was full of future pound for pound stars, and he's one is a pound for pound star now. He's not in the future, he is one now, and he's the real deal. And yeah, just what a performance. And to build on his last fight where he got dropped and then he just got back up and he rubbed it off, and boom, he for me went on to win at that round 9-9, and to then coming here to Philadelphia to be the co-main event of Boots Ennis. He just showed that the hype's real with him. I think that's the way you can talk. Bam Rodriguez is the real deal, and he showed that on Saturday night with an incredible performance.
With the pound for pound picture, is he the best of the rest? We talk about the three, the
top five,
Inoue, Crawford, and Usyk. And then you have that next name, that number 4. For some people it's Canelo, for some people it's Bivol, Beterbiev, for some people it's Bam Rodriguez. Is he in that picture between those kind of dominant and multi-weight champions in terms of Canelo and obviously we saw Beterbiev?
He's only 24, so he's still in terms of probably a boxing resume, he's probably not as big as some of those other fighters, but he's only been able to fight so far what's been put in front of him. I think he's got some big potential fights lined up next. Obviously, he was an obvious one you weren't really not fussed in seeing, but you thought maybe it was a bit of a risk, was the Inoue fight, where he seems confident enough in himself to step up in the weight classes and take him on. Or a lot of people are calling for the Chocolatito fight, so I think he will inevitably end up in probably in terms of pound for pound, the top 5. It's just he's still sort of building, where a lot of those fighters are towards the back end of their career and have had those massive fights.
Yeah, I think he does move up to bantamweight, but then we're then talking about him then moving up to super bantamweight, and Inoue then not moving up to featherweight, which I think is on the sort of closer horizon. And that's why I think I want that fight to happen, just maybe not right this moment. I think we can all be a little bit patient on that one and let. But then, you look at bantamweight and there's some huge. There's Inoue Jr., obviously Takuma Inoue, Nakatani. There's so many good fights at bantamweight for him before he even gets a shot at it, possibly moving up and fighting big Inoue.
Could you see Bam Rodriguez and Inoue this time next year?
Maybe, but I could see it happening, 100%. But I think it's too early.
Okay.
I think it falls under the category for me of like when we saw Crawford Canelo. It was like, well, how far up is Crawford going to have to go, and how quickly to get to Canelo's weight, and how much is that going to take away from his ability? Whether he's a better fighter or not, it doesn't matter. When you come up 2 weight classes, basically 3, with Inoue up to featherweight, that's a big jump. That's a big jump.
The thing with Inoue as well, I think it seems like every week on the podcast they're looking at a potential fighter that was oh, you should be aiming for a fight with him, even if it's Nick Ball or there's so many potential routes.
We were talking about Liam Davis at the start of the year, and look what happened now.
And it's across so many weight classes, which shows how great Inoue is, the fact that he's so dominant across so many. So it's one that definitely I think boxing fans would like to see, but I don't know whether we'd get it anytime soon.
Yeah, I think the thing is, the reason for that is just there's no one around Inoue at his level. And so you kind of have to go like 2-3 weight classes either side to find someone that you think could maybe cause Inoue a problem. And I think Inoue falls under the category of no matter who you match him against, it's going to seem like bad matchmaking because he's probably going to win it. And then you go, well, I knew he was going to win that going into it because he is just that step above. To jump back to obviously Bam's performance, what about his performance did we like from those 2 rounds? What exactly did he do rather than just, he's been in he? A bit better than that.
The way he set that shot up.
Yeah. He was
that shot to finish. It was just the way he caught him coming in, leaned back, and just it was such a good shot to watch. Like, well, I say I only caught the highlights of it. It weren't exactly as if it was much to.
I was going to say you didn't miss much.
Yeah, catch up on in terms of 2 rounds, but he is just such a good fighter, and it's hard to think sometimes he's only 24, so he's still got so much. You probably still improve from where he's at now, but yeah, he's just impressive every time you see him, and I'm just looking forward to now where he steps on from it. I think the Chocolatito fight is the next one, but
yeah,
I think he gets through him easily though. Chocolatito.
Yeah, but who doesn't he get through easily?
True.
You're trying to find a hugely difficult fight for him, and then you're just setting him up for failure because you're just going to end up pushing him up weight. I think the thing for me that I like that makes Bam so impressive is his footwork. He made someone like Sonny Edwards, stand in the middle of the ring and look stationary, and that's what he's known for, is moving and being on the back foot and using the whole ring, but he just cuts it off so well, creates the angle so well that he makes you look like you're just stuck in mud in the middle of
pure average boxer instead of a world class one, which Sonny Edwards is. For me, I think Bam now, that Chocolatito fight is probably more likely to happen next because, like you said, get the name on your resume, on your record, and then he can look at next fights. But for someone who's 24 years old and we're already talking about being in the top 5 pound for pound already, and the guy, a lot of people could argue, hasn't even peaked yet. Imagine this Bam Rodriguez when he's 30. It's scary. It's a scary thought.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Give me a number, pound for pound picture right now. Bam Rodriguez, where would you put him off the top of your head?
7.
7?
So who's before who's number 1?
You don't have to do it in order, but so we got
Usyk, Crawford.
I like it.
Who else do they have in there?
Inoue's
obviously in there. Canelo's in there. Bivol. Yeah, maybe 6 then.
Yeah, I think the one I would put him at 6, but I would have
Well, say Bivol, better be
as 5. Yeah,
I think I'd have him at 5. I think I'd have him above. I think he's more dominant as a super flyweight than Beterbiev is as a light heavyweight, and I think he's done more at flyweight and super flyweight than Beterbiev has done at light. I know that's mental to say, but really,
he's an undisputed champ. But yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. Yeah,
he's a 2-weight division champion, and he's beat everyone in front of him,
and he's
with ease,
and he's 24.
And
Beterbiev's 39, on 40
the thing
now.
is, with Beterbiev, could he hit like a truck the way he does at that lighter weight?
No, of course not. But it's comparative, isn't it? It's comparative. Yeah. Bam Rodriguez hits like a truck for a super flyweight. I'm not saying he can get in there, and that's not what I'm saying before anyone... What are you on about? He'll never beat Beterbiev. I know he'll lose to Beterbiev in a fight. But
there's weight categories for a reason. So
I know. Yeah. But moving on from that, elsewhere on the card, just trying to think. Ray Ford, I suppose.
Good.
Really good comeback fight. Really dominant first fight at a new weight, and he looks pretty comfortable there, doesn't he?
Well, he should have. The fight should have been done in the second round. I thought. I don't know if you boys seen it, but the referee, I think, had the longest count. They talk about Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, the first fight, where Fury had one of the longest counts in boxing. Have a look on Saturday night. He started counting 5 seconds into it, and he was on 2. Didn't make sense, but it's good to see that Ray Ford's now back, and he can now start looking at getting back to that level where he was against Nick Ball, where he had that massive win back in... I want to say he was in Canada where he had that performance that he shocked everyone in the 12th round, where he had to get the job done, and he did. And I think Saturday night as well just proved that despite the loss against Nick Ball last time out, he is beyond that level. He is at that world level now where he has to fight the best in his division because he's that good.
I think that Nick Ball fight was all about, first of all, as we see it with always with Saudi Arabia, the money, but also just rolling the dice a little bit. He was going to move up in weight, got a great opportunity at featherweight and thought, yeah, do you know what? I'll take it before I move up. Rolled the dice, lost. Well. And now at 130, he looks just as quick, just as sharp, probably maybe a little bit more powerful than he already was, because that lead hook that dropped his opponent was sharp. The man did not see it coming at all and really put him down.
And even in terms of the loss against Nick Ball, it was razor close. Like some people had him winning, so it's not as if it was a loss that really would have done much damage to his career, other than losing the world title, obviously. But super featherweight now, like you look at the champions, Kakachi, Usyk Foster is probably the one that makes the most sense in terms of two American fighters. But I think 2025 is the year that he has the world title shot now with our new weight class.
5v5 there, Kakachi against Ford.
Yeah, but Kakachi's going to move up, isn't he? I think to lightweight. So I think what we're realistically going to see is Kakachi move up to lightweight, and then there's a couple belts free for the IBF and the
WBA.
I forget which one, but there'll be belts free then for people to fight for, and obviously Ray Ford, no doubt, can pick up a world title fight based off his past performances at that new weight, and then it's going to be like you say. But I think Kakachi might be slightly too big for Ray Ford if he can still make super featherweight, because he's a big super featherweight for your second fight at that weight. That's a big ask.
He could be looking as well if he wants to do it. He could even get the rematch of Nick Ball if Nick Ball moves up, or even do that at catchweight to then get back that record.
I think he's gonna be looking for world titles, isn't he? So I think more sense would be Usyk Foster, or like you said, if Kakachi moves up, then you've got the vacant titles he could set the fight up for. So
he looked very good. Usyk Foster. It was last weekend he fought, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he looked really good out.
It'd be a good fight, that, actually. It would be a good fight, that, because
two Americans. Yeah,
it's also not that so often we see these fights and they match them up, and it's just like the clash of styles is just disgusting. Whereas with this one, it's kind of like Raymond Ford will be on the front foot, will be pressuring, looking to pick fights, and Usyk Foster will probably be slightly on the back foot trying to counter, and it will make that kind of nice matchup rather than having two counter punchers against each other, or when we all like to see two kind of brawlers and punchers. But this will be a good fight in terms of styles.
And he's already gone over to top rank and has won a world title, so he can do it again.
Yeah, why not? Elsewhere on the card, we'll do Ammo Williams first before the upset. Ammo Williams came in, did what he had to do, 5th round knockout, was a pretty good performance, and I think we can kind of chalk off that Hamza Shiraz performance as it was Hamza Shiraz, wasn't it?
I think he just showed that night, June 1st, how good Hamza Shiraz is. And I think Austin Williams did what he had to do on Saturday night, and that was to get the stoppage. As much as I think I called all of the fights to go, not the distance, but for Austin for Ammo, to get in there and get it after a loss like that against Hamza Shiraz shows he's a great character. And I saw in his post-fight interview he did, I think, with IFL, he said that he wants that rematch with Hamza Shiraz. Is that a wise route? For me, probably not. I think you look at the names that he could fight. Tyler Denny. I think that's maybe another route that then gets you. Then both men have lost to Hamza Shiraz. Then the winner of that can go at him again. But I think Hamza Shiraz is going to be out of touch come the start of 2025 for both Ammo and Denny.
Well, he's officially vacated the European, hasn't he?
Because that's Shiraz, Brad Pauls and Denzel Bentley.
Bentley fighting for that one. So I think what we'll realistically see is Hamza Shiraz pick up a world title fight. I predict him to probably pick up that world title, and then I think Ammo Williams is probably hedging his bets at maybe getting himself a chance at a world title, which you can't blame him for. But I do think he probably needs, like you say, a fight or two more just to kind of get ready up to that level.
But if you're Hamza Shiraz, you win your world title and then you looking to defend it, rematch Ammo then, because you've already got the win over him.
Maybe.
I think he could fight. I think he could fight at the world level, Ammo. I think he's a good fighter. Like Hamza Shiraz loss is like I said, Hamza Shiraz is a really good fighter, and you got Yana Beck is probably the one who's just won a world title is looking for his next opponent. So whether Hamza Shiraz goes in there and then you get the rematch with Amo for a world title, it's he's obviously still trying to build back up now from that loss, but he's a very good fighter, so I see him fighting for a world title probably next year.
Yeah, I think he'll get a shot at it, and I think we'll probably see that Shiraz world title fight probably in February. I imagine they're not going to hang around waiting for it if they can get it done in
February 22nd, ain't it?
Yeah, the card that we're supposed to be one of the best cards yet that we haven't seen. So we'll wait and see on that one. And then the other fight on the card, Khali Coe. Ben, you bigged up how exciting it's going to be to have a heavy American at the top, winning fights, winning titles. I said he's a really great fighter, really one to look forward to, and he lost, didn't he? He lost. In fairness to him, it was a difficult fight in terms of took some big shots and wasn't able to recover from them, but otherwise it was a reasonably close fight.
I thought it was a bit of a risk because that Manuel was ranked 12th by the WBO, so he has something about him. And I want to say on commentary that they were saying that he's moved up a lot of weight. I think he was 140 at one point in his career and he's now fighting at 175, so fair play to him for doing that. But yeah, he just didn't look likely, Coe. I thought he looked very off from the last time I seen him, and I thought Manuel did what he had to do and got the job done. He was there to lose. That's what these guys come in against when you're looking to build up. They pick a fighter that they think they can get through, and they got it wrong on Saturday night. And for Coe now, it's all about rebuilding. And like Ben said, you talk about all the heavier weights in American boxing, there's not really anyone coming through, really. Jared Anderson had that loss against Piccoli where we were all sitting here on the other side of the Atlantic thinking, what are they doing with putting Anderson in against Piccoli? But this fight here just showed that potentially a future star in the heavier divisions in American boxing we're nowhere near a big star.
Yeah, they're still waiting for it, and obviously Manuel Gallegos, his last fight was a loss to Pacheco, and that was a super middleweight as well, so he's obviously gone up a weight class. So yeah, it's a tough one for him. Obviously gonna have to try and bounce back from her now, but it's hard to see where he goes from her now. You thought that was his moment to make that step up, and now he's knocked him back. So he's
already got a draw on the record, hasn't he, as well?
Yeah.
So you knock one off as kind of a blip, and then it's like, well, 2 in 11 is kind of 20% of the time you're having an off night. You're maybe not. I don't know. I think obviously he can still come good from this. It isn't terminal. It's not the end of his career. It's not he's not going to go on the road now, and we'll see him down the Vale as an away fight or anything. But
no, that's impossible.
But it's not the exciting kind of upward trajectory that we were hoping for, is it?
No, but that's what I mean. If he'd got a win or made some sort of statement against someone who's just obviously lost the Pacheco, you can sort of build something from it and push on, whereas you've taken a stoppage loss now, and looking at his record, there's no one really there in terms of a resume that impresses you. So yeah, he's gonna have to try and figure out a way to bounce back from it and rebuild.
I'm sure he will. It might just take a little bit longer than they were maybe hoping for. I don't actually know how old he is, but I know he had a reasonable amateur career, so I would presume he's not sort of
28.
Super young. Yeah, 28. So you've got time, but it's a frustrating backstep for him. And then one that wasn't a backstep by any means, Keyshawn Davis on Friday night or early Saturday morning, I suppose it always is, against Gustavo Daniel Lemos. Lemos came in overweight and got dropped, I think it was 3 times in the second round before finishing the fight. Well, not a bad performance.
Not a bad performance, and Davis punished him rightly because, he what was it, 6 pounds overweight? You can't be doing that.
It's a lot.
You can't be doing that, and I think the Saturday night we saw that Keyshawn Davis is very special because this was meant to be the test. We said to Lemos, what are they doing? Why is Keyshawn Davis? This could be a potential banana skin for him here, but Davis just showed why he's up there. And for someone to sell out an arena or have nearly over 10,000 fans in the arena, to have that for a non-world title fight potentially shows how special he is. And I think on Friday night we saw that he's very special, and he went through Lemos with flying colours, and now he can move on to bigger and better things. I want to say that was a interim one. I want to say for the fight. I could be completely
think it
wrong.
was. I think it was. I don't
It could
think
have been
there
a
was.
full one.
It was the Intercontinental,
That's it.
IBF and WBO.
So he can now look to get those outright now in 2025, but they need to start easing now that fighting now for top rank, where they got a location where they know they can sell tickets. Let's stick him in Norfolk. I want to say he had his brother on the card, his cousin as well, and he also had his sister sing the national anthem. But I think when you have something like that, you have to invest a lot of time and money into it, and I think Top Rank need to do that now.
Yeah.
You couldn't just take fighters to him now, like like you said, selling out 10,000 tickets. Like, you know, there's an audience here for him, and to get the world title shot is next. You could take Berinchik or someone like that.
Or Lomachenko. Those are the two, IBF and the WBO, both Ukrainians, so they won't necessarily bring a huge audience in the States. If you want that fight in the States, give it to Keyshawn Davis, have that as the main event. You know it's going to sell tickets.
I think Berinchik's the next move for him. I think that makes more sense.
You don't often get a fighter that can sell that well tickets-wise, so when you do, like we've seen it, the likes of with Johnny Fisher, like the way he sells out you won't get many fighters that can sell that way and have such a backing, so I'm sure the Top Rank are really going to push behind him now, and he is a really incredible talent as well. He'll be one of the best fighters coming out of America. He looked very impressive against Lemos, who's caused people issues in the past. Obviously come in overweight. I think they were lucky with the fact that they had the no rehydration clause in there, because I don't see them doing the fight if that wasn't the case, because for him to come in so much heavier, we've seen with the likes of Devin Haney how that could go wrong in the past. But yeah, I think they've got a real star there, and they need to build around him now.
His biggest problem is the division he's in.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at up and down the division, the likes of Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Lomachenko, Berinchik, even in the UK, Joe Cordina, Sam Noakes, Mark Chamberlain at one point. You know, it's a stacked division. So Frank Martin, obviously, as well. You know, lost to Tank last time out, but a quality fighter. So there's so many good fighters in and around that weight category that are kind of vying for the few opportunities, and none of the titles are unified. They're all separate places. It's just, there's so many great fights to make. It's exciting.
And I back him a lot against Berinchik. I think if that's the next move, if they go, right, who do you want next, and he chooses Berinchik, I think without a shadow of a doubt he gets the job done. It'll be tough, but I think Davis is that sort of fighter that can get through it again with flying colours, because I think when the pressure's on, he performs.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as say without a shadow of a doubt, because Berinchik's a very good fighter in his own right and has caused upsets in his own right. But
Keyshawn Davis is very
I'd
special,
have him as the favourite for sure. But I'm not going to go as far to say without a shadow of a doubt, because it is
boxing.
It's
at
boxing.
The end of the day, yeah.
The puncher's chance, all of that.
Everyone's
all
got
that
it.
rubbish.
Yeah.
Everyone's got it. So yeah, I think that wraps up pretty much.
Can we talk about Abdullah Mason though?
Of course, yeah, down on the card as well. Yeah.
We talk about rounds of the year. I think my round of the year was probably Joe Laws against Stephen McKenna up in Barnsley that we were at. That gives that a run for its money, because he got knocked down within a minute, and then his opponent's on the canvas, and then he's back down on the floor, Mason, and then to come back in the second round, I think it was, to then stop him, just showed it showed what sort of character he is. And it's good to see that these youngsters now in America are getting these tests where they're getting put on the canvas, and how do they react? It's always interesting to see how a boxer reacts once they get knocked down, and for him to then get back up onto his feet, and then I want to say it was like 30 seconds later knock his opponent down, just showed that he is something special. And for someone who's quite young as well, I want to say,
just 20.
Yeah, just 20. Mental, absolutely mental. How much power he's got at 20 as well.
Yeah, it was good to see how we reacted to the setback. Like, you could sort of panic, like, especially only 20 years old, still quite young into his professional career. Like, to be knocked down twice in the first round, like some people would be there, and they start to get flustered, panic, start to rush things. But yeah, to sort of compose yourself in that moment and do what he done in the next round, and it'll be a good learning curve for him, like, to understand, like, he's not unbeatable, he's not undroppable. So you've got to be careful in fights, and yeah, I think it'll do him the world of good.
It's probably taught him as well to keep his chin down as well.
Yeah, I think it's you say. I think it was a slightly sort of immature reaction or a young reaction in a sense. You know, you see a lot of fighters like Inoue. First time he went down in his career, he took 8 seconds. He took his time. He waited for himself to recover. So getting yourself back up and trying to send yourself headfirst into a firefight in this stage of your career will work because you are the better fighter. But later in your career, if you go walk headfirst after being dropped for the first time,
it could be
you're probably going to end up out. And so, as much as it worked from this time and it made a great moment for the crowd and all of this, going forward, you probably want to take a look at how you reacted to that and go, actually, in a future fight, it might be better. Take the time, have that round not off, but, get myself through that round, try and win that round without necessarily trying to put him out, and then build a performance from there. But like you say, that's boring. No one wants to see that.
You are right, though. It's a learning curve. And like, he'll go back and watch and now see what he's done wrong, and we'll know for next time. And
because you shouldn't be getting dropped twice in the same round
by his opposition that was there for him to beat.
Yeah. Is what I'm trying to. I'm not trying to say it was a bad performance by any means, but because
like
second round knockout,
just
you can't
to react. How many times have we seen this year boxers that get knocked down and panic straight away, just panic and arms are up? They're not
it's ballsy. Yeah, he's gone for it.
Fair play to him. And again, 20 years old and he's doing stuff like that.
He's gone out on his shield, but he hasn't gone out at all. He's put them out. So fair play to him. Really, I was going to say before we obviously rightfully jumped over to that one, I think it was a really good weekend of fights this weekend, just as a whole. I like when you get one card on a Friday and one on a Saturday as well. Not just because it makes our life a little bit easier with catching up on fights where we can, but I don't know, it's just got a nice better pace to it, isn't it, the weekend, rather than when you're like, oh my god, there was 20 fights on Saturday night, I've now got to pick apart what I want to watch.
I think the worst thing was that it was in the middle of the night. If that was at 7 p.m, I would be watching all of them, happy days like. But no, it was a good weekend of boxing, and it was good to catch up on it, and it was quite enjoyable to see that Bam came through with flying colours. Keyshawn Davis now, his next move is a world title fight, hopefully in Norfolk, where he can probably sell another 10,000 tickets, because for someone, like we said, to sell more than 10,000 tickets on a non-world title fight just shows how special he is. Amma Williams coming back from a loss, fair play to him. It's just, and Boots Ennis was in, for me, if you're looking at fights of the weekend, that was probably the fight of the weekend there with Chukhadzian.
Good fight, close fight.
Well, he was winning, he won, but it was a very good fight, a very competitive fight, and he can learn a lot from that fight as well, Boots, now. And hopefully now his father in his corner can probably learn that giving his son instructions just to go and knock out your opponent is probably not the right thing to do at this level in boxing.
Just go knock him out, mate. Just do it. Just off you go. Pop off.
I think that's why, if I was a coach mind, I think that's what my messages would be.
Yeah, I'd come to...
What are you doing?
Come to the corner, Harry be there.
Yeah.
Right, you've got 3 minutes. Off you go, knock him out.
Yeah.
Off you pop.
Yeah. I want to get home in time.
Yeah, I got to get back. I got fight to catch up on.
Kebab shop shuts at 10.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for episode 64 now.
Wow.
We've got 65 coming later in the week. We're going to be previewing Latino night over in Riyadh season, as well as Jake Paul Mike Tyson as well.
And Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano.
Yeah,
that's the fight. That's the
real big fight. It's actually not a bad card, to be fair, up and down, other than that one fight. But we'll be previewing that later in the week, and then obviously reviewing it next week. Fingers crossed with a nice little trophy or something here. We'll put it down there. Maybe not, we'll see. We'll let you guys know, obviously, on that. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, audio episodes on Spotify, and we'll catch you later in the week for another episode.
But punches chance. Punches Chance Podcast.